They never told you this, that the greatest turning points in your life wouldn't feel like fireworks or grand celebrations. They'd arrive disguised as confusion, quiet, and stillness. That the most profound moments of transformation wouldn't announce themselves with noise, but with a subtle awareness that something no longer aligns. You wake up one day, glance at your surroundings, and realize you've outgrown the vibration you once lived in. The walls seem built from older versions of you. Not wrong, just outdated. And then, deep within, a voice murmurs, "It's time to leap." Not physically, not symbolically, quantumly. Many believe quantum jumping is simply a metaphor, a mystical way to say shift your mindset or envision a brighter future. But what if it's not symbolic at all? What if, just like in quantum science, it's an actual measurable phenomenon? A shift in energetic resonance so exact, so instantaneous, that the transformation happens without transition. No gradual steps, no climbing process, just a relocation of being, like an electron shifting from one orbit to another without crossing the space between. In quantum theory, that's known as a discontinuous leap. The electron doesn't travel, it vanishes from one energy level and reappears in another the instant enough energy is absorbed. That's not poetic imagery, that's scientific fact. And what if you, as a vibrational entity intertwined with infinite realities, operate in the same way? What if each time you felt compelled to release, to break away, to move on, it wasn't just emotional restlessness? It was your energy field preparing to jump. But here's the issue, most people don't hear it. They overthink. They hesitate. They calculate the cost of change while their soul has already moved ahead. The mind scrambles to justify what the heart already decided. That's why transformation often feels messy, because you're resisting a leap that's already begun. And the only thing slowing it down is your attachment to the how. See, quantum leaps don't obey logic. They don't need justification. They only require resonance, alignment, a decision vibrating louder than your fear. That's when the universe responds. That's when the jump stabilizes. And you've felt it before, haven't you? That instant after a breakup when you felt a decade lighter, or when you left a job and the air suddenly tasted new. When you stopped defending your truth and the world answered first with silence, then with magic. Those were leaps, not gradual shifts, not steady progressions. They were instant realignments, not in your schedule but in your frequency. And the reason you didn't see evidence right away wasn't because nothing changed. It was because reality was still recalibrating to your new position. That's how it functions. The moment you decide, not wish, not hope, but decide on a new way of being, the field starts to reconfigure. But most people abort the leap too early. But here's the twist. Quantum jumping doesn't demand belief, it demands transmission. You don't need to persuade yourself it's real. You simply have to stop sending out the signal of who you once were. And that's where this video begins. Because in the next few minutes, you'll see why quantum jumping isn't symbolic. It's practical. It's a method, a science, a strategy of vibrational precision. And once you learn to use it consciously, without waiting for life to corner you, you stop reacting to events and start choosing them. So don't try to grasp it all immediately. Just stay here. Watch what unfolds. Because if something already feels slightly different in your body right now, you may already be mid-jump. You can't leap while clinging on. That's the first rule, and the one most resist. Because jumping isn't about gaining something new, it's about becoming someone new. And that means allowing what no longer resonates to dissolve. Beliefs, habits, identities, timelines, and stories, not all at once but completely on an energetic level. You can't broadcast the vibration of your future while remaining woven into the emotions of your past. The quantum field can't decode two frequencies at once, and it doesn't react to the loudest signal, only the most coherent. This is where quantum mechanics meets identity psychology. In the quantum realm, every possibility already exists in potential. You don't manufacture your new timeline, you tune into it. And the secret isn't in doing more, forcing harder, or visualizing longer. It lies in collapsing the wave of your current identity, becoming both emotionally and neurologically unavailable for the version of you that constructed this present life. That's the paradox. You don't reach your new life by fixing the old one. You leap by no longer being the person who needed repair. This isn't just theory. Neuroscience shows that identity isn't only a story, it's a network of neural patterns. When you wake each morning and instantly replay your fears, regrets, and to-do lists, you're reigniting your familiar self. That self has a frequency, and that frequency signals the field, keep projecting the same. But what happens when you break the loop? When you open your eyes and ask, what would my future self do right now? And then, without proof, you act on it, not pretending, not forcing, but deciding. Because every future vibrates at a frequency, and every identity carries a unique code. You don't earn that frequency, you attune to it. And that tuning depends on one crucial factor: emotional consistency. If you affirm wealth but still feel lack, the field mirrors the lack. If you visualize success but carry shame, it reflects the shame. That's not failure, it's feedback. The universe isn't punishing you, it's synchronizing with you. So ask yourself, what emotional habits are you still practicing that belong to the version you've already outgrown? Worrying, pleasing, hiding, these aren't mere patterns. They're energetic signatures keeping you tied to the timeline you're ready to release. To collapse that identity means to stop performing it. And you don't need 30 days, 21 steps, or a full moon ritual to begin. Arlie. They panic when nothing seems to shift in the physical world right away. They question, they retreat, and the new timeline folds back into the familiar. You need a moment of complete energetic truth. You face the version of yourself still addicted to the old narrative and say, "I love you, but I no longer choose you." That's the separation. That's the leap. That's the signal the field reacts to. Because the field is always attuned to coherence. Not perfection, not intensity, but coherence. A state where your thoughts, emotions, actions, and beliefs all align with the vibration of the life you claim to desire. When you strike that frequency even briefly, the quantum field locks in. And then something curious happens. The urge to chase, to prove, to control begins to dissolve. You feel calm, centered, and that calm isn't detachment. It's confirmation that the old self has deactivated. This is why transformation sometimes feels dull. Without the drama of doubt or the tension of conflict, there's only presence. And presence is power. You're no longer waiting for the change. You're no longer becoming the self. You're the self. And the field, like a perfectly timed mirror, begins to reflect that instantly, but only if you sustain it, only if you don't flinch, only if you don't retreat when results take longer than expected. This is what divides a quantum jumper from a quantum dreamer. One transmits a signal and stays steady in it. The other sends a signal, waits for validation, and when it doesn't arrive quickly, collapses back into the old vibration, the old identity, the old life. But not you. Because by the end of this video you'll understand how to hold the frequency, release the doubt, and dissolve the version of yourself that can't cross into where you're headed. This isn't about metaphysics, it's about memory, remembering the version of you that already exists and consciously choosing to live from that frequency. And in the next part, I'll show you how to make that choice last. Most people don't need more concepts. They need a practice, something tangible for when the mind spirals, the body tenses, or the old identity tries to pull them back. So let's break the illusion right now. Quantum jumping isn't a single decision. It's a sequence, a vibrational practice, a daily act of dissolving the illusion that you're fixed, limited, or behind. The method includes 5 stages, not linear, not rigid, but energetic postures that let you embody the version of you that already exists in the reality you're aligning to. Let's call it the broadcast shift. Step 1. Recognize the discomfort as a signal, not as a setback. Every time you feel the old self resurfacing, the fear, hesitation, or doubt, don't criticize it. Don't suppress it. Acknowledge it as evidence that you're standing at the edge of the leap. In quantum language, discomfort is energetic interference, static between your present frequency and the one you're tuning into. The biggest mistake people make is misreading that static as rejection, when in truth, it's recalibration. Step 2. Interrupt the emotional pattern right away. When those familiar feelings arise, your body instinctively wants to follow the easiest route, the old narrative. But here's the power move. Interrupt the broadcast. Shift your stance. Change your breathing. Speak something aloud. Do something physical and symbolic to shatter the loop. Neuroscience confirms that breaking a pattern is the quickest way to interrupt neural coherence and open space for a new decision. Step 3. Embody the frequency of the timeline you desire. This is the precise jump point. Ask yourself, if I already had what I wanted, how would that feel? Then let that sensation flood your nervous system. Not pretending, not merely visualizing, being it for 90 seconds, 3 minutes, however long it takes to saturate your energy field with coherence. You don't need to see the outcome, you need to feel the synchronization. The quantum field doesn't read results, it reads resonance. So broadcast that signal fully. Step 4. Take one aligned action from your new identity. Quantum jumping isn't about waiting quietly for the world to adjust. It's about acting as if the new frequency is already yours. Not to chase something, but to prove to the field that you've shifted. Maybe it's a message you send, a boundary you set, a thought you consciously choose. The scale doesn't matter, the alignment does. Every small, congruent action entangles you deeper with your chosen timeline. The field then starts mirroring validation because your new signal has become detectable. Step 5. Detach from the outcome. Stay anchored in the vibration. This is where most people stumble. They do the process, feel uplifted, then immediately scan reality for confirmation. The instant you look for proof, you exit frequency and re-enter fear. Real jumping means holding the vibration even when nothing seems to change, especially then because that's the test and the field is always listening. Let's make this practical. Try this ritual tomorrow morning. Wake up, sit upright, and before you check your phone, ask, which version of me am I choosing to broadcast today? Then close your eyes, breathe, and feel the answer. Don't think it, embody it through posture, breath, and intention. Maybe the answer is calm, bold, trusting, limitless, or free. Whatever arises, hold that broadcast for 2 minutes. Then walk into your day as if that version is the only one that exists. Speak, move, and respond from it, and watch what starts to shift. Because once your entire system becomes the new signal, reality has no option but to comply. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped matching the echoes of the old frequency. You've ceased being a receiver, you've become a transmitter. And transmitters don't chase proof. They generate it by holding steady until it manifests. In the next section, we'll uncover what disrupts this process, and why most people unconsciously collapse their new signal. More importantly, I'll teach you how to anchor your jump. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail to leap because they lack desire, they fail because they misunderstood the mechanics of energetic sabotage. They believed their doubt was harmless. They assumed checking for signs was natural. They didn't realize that every time they asked, "Is this working?" they were collapsing the transmission, slipping back into the orbit of their former self. Let's break that down. In quantum physics, the observer effect proves that measuring a particle alters its state. In transformation, doubting your shift alters its vibration. It's not about being endlessly positive, it's about not disrupting the new broadcast with the old identity's fear. Here's what happens. You declare a new version of yourself, feel aligned, take action, and the field begins responding. But then comes silence. No proof, no signs. The old programming activates. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I did it wrong. And in that instant, your frequency collapses. Not because the shift wasn't real, but because you stopped sustaining it. The quantum field can only mirror what you consistently emit. This is where emotional mastery becomes crucial. Not suppression, but awareness. When doubt surfaces, name it. Don't merge with it. You feel impatience. Notice it. Don't fuel it. You catch yourself searching for proof. Stop. Return to your frequency. Remember, every emotion carries a vibration, and the field isn't emotional. It's neutral. It doesn't punish you for fear. It simply mirrors it. So the real question isn't, how do I stop feeling this? It's, which emotion do I choose to embody even when this one appears? This is what it means to anchor the jump. You don't wait to feel prepared. You practice being the signal until that signal becomes your nervous system's natural setting. And here's the paradox. The less you pursue the outcome, the sooner it arrives. What? Because pursuit implies distance. Distance implies lack. And lack tells the field, this isn't mine yet. So when you say, I'll believe it once I see it, the game's already lost. But when you declare, I believe it, therefore I'll see it, you've already jumped. That's what it means to choose yourself without external evidence. To support your new identity even before the world acknowledges it. To stop waiting for permission to be who you already are. And that's exactly what I want you to claim now. So here's your invitation, not just to watch this message, but to engage with it. Comment below, I choose myself. Say it, write it, embody it. Not for me, not for metrics, for your own coherence. Because that act, that subtle broadcast of emotional certainty, is precisely what your field has been waiting for. Not effort, not flawlessness. Alignment. Alignment that says, I don't need convincing, I'm already there. This is how timelines stabilize, not through force but through consistent repetition of your signal. The one who returns to the vibration the quickest, no matter what arises, is the one who shifts reality first. And that could easily be you. I'll show you now what unfolds once the field starts responding, and why the chaos you might feel isn't failure, but confirmation that the jump has begun to land. So what truly happens when the shift starts grounding in? Not the vision, not the choice, but the instant when your broadcast becomes so coherent, so steady, that the quantum field must reflect it back. Chaos. Silence. Reorganization. Because here's what few ever explain. Your new frequency doesn't just attract what's aligned, it pushes away everything that's not. And that can initially feel like loss. Like confusion, like everything is unraveling right after you finally committed to the new you. This is the paradox of transformation. You leap, and suddenly relationships feel distant, your work feels alien, your routines feel heavy. Nothing's going wrong. What's happening is energetic misalignment surfacing. Think of it this way: you used to transmit at 93.7 FM and your world, your people, habits and patterns all matched that signal. But now you've shifted to 104.5. You're in the same room but broadcasting a completely different frequency. Naturally, some things start to drift. Conversations lose rhythm. People seem out of sync. Opportunities vanish. The familiar feels empty. That's not regression, that's resonance correcting itself. In quantum terms, you've altered your vibrational code, and the field is now cleansing everything still entangled with the old you. It's not rejection, it's realignment. You might feel isolated. You might feel challenged. You might even wonder if you made a mistake. But this, right here, is where reality begins to bend. When the old timeline dissolves and the new one hasn't fully appeared, you're in the void, the sacred in-between. The place where your job is not to react, but to remain in frequency. This is when your nervous system most wants to retreat, to reach for comfort, to apologize for changing, to tone it down, slow it down, or second-guess your choice. But this is the moment of anchoring. Because what most call tests from the universe aren't tests at all, they're echoes. Echoes of your old frequency ripple back one final time, whispering, "Are you certain?" And you don't reply with language. You respond through embodiment. You awaken. You inhale the energy of your evolved self. You move in ways the previous you never dared. You stop justifying your transformation to those demanding proof. You release, not the people, but the outdated version of you that depended on their approval. And then something shifts. A message from someone unexpected. An opportunity that couldn't have appeared before. A synchronicity so flawless, so unlikely, it makes you smile through the tears. These aren't accidents. They're affirmations. Evidence that the field has synchronized. That your broadcast is now the foundation. That you've stopped bleeding energy into outdated narratives. It might not unfold instantly. It could take a few days or several weeks, but it always unfolds because reality isn't random. It's harmonic. And when you align with the rhythm of your next level, your timeline begins to resonate with you. So don't fear the quiet. Don't misread the stillness as defeat. Don't see the fading of alignment as punishment. Instead, recognize it for what it is: a cleansing, a vibrational reset, a cosmic vacuum clearing space for the self that's already here, waiting to be realized. And in the next and final part of this video, I'll show you how to remain in the new frequency long enough for the breakthrough to solidify into your normal. Because it's not enough to leap, you must stay. There's something powerful about a choice no one witnesses. A silent decision you make within, before validation, before applause, before alignment reveals itself outwardly. That's the real quantum leap. Not the vision board, not the ritual, but the instant you stop signaling scarcity and start embodying your frequency, with no audience except the field itself. Because the field is always perceiving, not as a critic but as a mirror, an infinite neutral intelligence that responds only to your transmission. And now you understand what that transmission truly is. It isn't your ideas, your desires, or your words. It's the energy you sustain even when no one observes. And the strongest vibration you can ever hold is certainty. Not certainty in outcomes, but certainty in self. When you choose yourself, again and again, in the quiet, in the uncertainty, in the liminal space between identities, you emit the most powerful signal the universe can detect. You declare, "This is who I am and I don't need evidence to live it." That's when the transformation becomes tangible. That's when the new timeline finally lands. Not because you pursued it, but because you mirrored it, you became it. From that moment forward, reality stops being a condition. It becomes confirmation. A reflection of the version of you that already exists, now visible. So stop chasing results. Seek resonance. Don't ask, "Is it working?" Ask, "Am I expressing my future?" Or, "Am I replaying my past?" That single question can dissolve illusions, collapse outdated timelines, and erase old identities in one breath. Because when you stop searching for the shift and begin embodying it, everything rearranges around you. And it won't be chaotic or loud. It'll be gentle, graceful, inevitable. A new person arriving right when you stop craving connection. An idea appearing the moment you quit forcing clarity. An opportunity that defies logic but feels energetically perfect. That's not coincidence. That's the field whispering back, message received. So, if something stirred within you during this video, if something aligned, resonated, or moved beyond words, that's your field awakening. That's coherence strengthening. That's your new reality unfolding. And here's what I want you to do next. Not something huge or dramatic, just one small action from this new frequency. Maybe write out who you're broadcasting now. Maybe remove what no longer matches. Maybe sit quietly and breathe as your future self for 60 seconds longer. Whatever you do, let it emerge from certainty. And if you want to keep receiving content aligned with this vibration, guidance that nurtures your expansion, coherence, and quantum evolution, I invite you to stay connected. Not just to subscribe, but to tune in. This isn't merely a channel, it's a transmission. Every time you return here, you're not just watching, you're reinforcing your signal. So if this resonates, if you're done waiting for proof, if you're ready to embody the truth you've always sensed within, subscribe now. And in this field, you'll keep choosing yourself again and again and again, until the universe has no choice but to reflect it back.